inquest has ruled that a soldier who was found dead after going missing in Afghanistan in the summer was unlawfully killed. The body of Highlander Scott McLaren from 4th Battalion, the Royal Regiment of Scotland, was recovered 17 hours after he disappeared. He'd been shot 5 times at close range. As James Hurst reports from the hearing at Trowbridge in Wiltshire, his family had to endure some highly distressing evidence.
Highlander Scott McLaren's family arrived at the court this morning hoping for final answers 5 months since the 20-year-old soldier was killed. He was serving in a 9-man multiple at Checkpoint Salang in Nari Siraj. Members of the Highlanders, 4th Battalion, the Royal Regiment of Scotland, they were attached to One Rifles battle group. Today, some of those men told the inquest how Highlander McLaren had last been seen at around 2 in the morning on the 4th of July. His absence only fully noticed an hour and a half later as they prepared to leave for an operation. An air and ground search was launched. The court heard it was around 17 hours after Highlander McLaren disappeared that his body was finally recovered from a river. The post-mortem report showed that Highlander McLaren had 5 bullet wounds to his head and to his neck. There were also signs that he had been assaulted both before and after he was killed. His body was found some 3 miles from his checkpoint and was first spotted around 12 hours after he had left that site. Recording his verdict, the coroner said there was consistent evidence that Highlander McLaren had been captured and ultimately executed by insurgent forces while on active service in Afghanistan. But he said what remains unclear is why Highlander McLaren left his base that morning. Colleagues told the coroner that Highlander McLaren had wanted to search for a second time at a vehicle checkpoint for a missing pair of night vision goggles that he had been the last to hold. But that VCP was to the north, on the other side of a newly constructed bridge, and CCTV images showed the soldier heading south into insurgent country instead, wearing his body armour and carrying his weapon. The coroner was told repeatedly that Scott McLaren had not been held personally responsible for the loss of the night vision goggles, but had been worried weeks before that he kept messing up. Yet colleagues and commanders saw him as a reliable, conscientious person. One said, "You couldn't ask for a better guy." For Highlander McLaren's family, those words may have offered some crumbs of comfort amid the extremely difficult evidence and questions that will remain unanswered. James Hurst, Forces News, Trowbridge.